the year 2000, a band released a CD that completely disappeared. No label, no online record, and no digital footprint of its existence. For almost 20 years, it sat unnoticed until one anonymous post on 4chan brought it back. 4chan is one of the most famous image boards on the internet, where users can post whatever they want anonymously. And while normal people with lives and jobs may not know what 4chan is, it's still responsible for a lot of things, like the creation of countless internet memes, movements, and subcultures, like Pepe the Frog, Wojaks, and Rickrolls, as well as hacktivist and political movements such as Anonymous. The site uses boards dedicated to different topics. You can think of it like subreddits or hashtags. There are boards for pretty much everything, from video games and anime boards to political boards and even, but most importantly, there's a board dedicated to music, which is where today's story takes place. And it all started when...
Hey, I picked this up because it looked interesting. I wasn't able to find any references to it online whatsoever. Even with super obscure bands, you might expect to find some old MySpace page or a mention in some forum. Does anybody recognize this album? I half expected it to be noise pop or some vaporwave wackery. Listening to it now, track 1 is like hella lo-fi, shoegaze with noise panning back and forth. This isn't some viral marketing bullshit. I'm just curious if anyone can shed some light on it, and I'm slightly excited about the prospect of owning a rare album.
After Anon listened to the album, he searched it up on the internet, only to come back with no results, which is why he decided to post about it on 4chan's music board. After Anon's post, many users were interested to hear it, and the demand for Anon to share it quickly grew, and share it he did.
Here it is, 320 tag.
The link contained an upload of the album, making it publicly available for the first time. The music featured lo-fi and shoegaze influences, along with heavy layers of distortion. Many users debated whether the distortion was intentional or not. Some believed it was a stylistic choice, while others argued that it was the result of something called disc rot. Disc rot is the tendency of CD, DVD, or other optical discs to become unreadable because of chemical deterioration.
Okay, I think I'm going crazy. This sounds like the CD wasn't properly burned. Maybe the noise isn't supposed to be there. Besides, it's just really weirdly mixed. And there's the same noise in all the songs. That would explain it.
I think it's definitely supposed to be there. No way that would happen with 2000s technology. And why would they put it out if it sounded like that when they didn't mean to?
Majority of users liked this album, and some users even offered to purchase it, and this led to the rise of Panchiko's mystery. At first, some users assumed it was a marketing scheme, but it wouldn't make sense for someone to lie on the internet just to get a few people to download his music, so that idea was out of the window. And at that point, 4chan users had started the search for the album Death Metal and the band behind it. The original thread became inactive, and eventually it shut down, but the search continued on Discord with a server dedicated to the investigation of the album. The first thing that users did was look at the album cover and try to get any info from it. The picture on the cover itself was from the Japanese manga Min Nabukura, and the picture itself didn't break any copyright laws, so at least we know that the album wasn't taken down for copyright issues. The next move was to look at the original 4chan post and the labels that were attached to the cover. The only information was the band members' first names listed on the back cover: Owain, Andy, Sean, and John, and the year the CD came out, 2000. The sticker on the CD shows that it was bought from Oxfam, which is a chain that only exists in the UK. Oxfam shops are basically treasure chests. You can find completely normal items or items with strange and unknown history behind it. The workers have no idea where the donations come from, who owned them, or what stories are attached. At this point, the searchers had two solid leads: the band members' names and a rough location tied to the album's origin. Shortly after, one user stated that they recall seeing this cover in an Oxfam store, specifically in Southampton. The searchers tried emailing that store, but according to the staff, it was never in their stock at all. So the searchers resorted to contacting every musician in that area that shared the Panchiko members' names. Again, most artists that they contacted either denied ever knowing about Panchiko or just straight up ignored them, and that was another attempt gone in vain. But there was one clue that almost everyone overlooked. In the original post, a blurry barcode could be seen on the CD. It wasn't an item ID, it was linked to the person who donated the album, meaning this wasn't just a number, but a direct lead to someone who had physically owned the album. Looks promising, but there was a few issues. The first one being Oxfam probably didn't have the information on this record stored after all that time. Even if they did, it would have been illegal for them to just give away personal information of the person who gave them the CD, so even that seemed like a dead end. That was until a Discord user from the Panchiko server sent this message.
We may have found the location of the album's existence. whether or not this is going to help is uncertain. Basically, by looking up the last 4 digits of the code on the sticker that's on the front cover and Oxfam on Google and Oxfam store in Sherwood, Nottingham shows up under different articles. If this is it, then this could help quite a bit.
This discovery shifted the focus to the specific area of Sherwood, and so they quickly started DMing every Owain in town, until they landed on a Facebook page with the name Owain that showed him having a background in music. Nobody expected this, but it was actually him. During the same time, Andy was also found through his bandmix profile.
You found Andy, musician from Southampton, where the album was supposedly recorded, produces his music. He is credited as a producer in one of the pictures from the album. We also may have found Owain, but we're not sure. If this isn't Andy, then it's one hell of a coincidence.
At first, Owain was confused and even bothered by the search, which is fair enough. Finding out that a group of strangers had been tracking down your personal information to ask about a forgotten project from 20 years ago is a lot to process. But only a few weeks later, Owain realized the weight of the situation and how people had been desperate for a clean copy, and so Owain started contacting the Panchiko members.
Have you seen this?
He wrote to Andy, who was with his girlfriend in Korea at the time, and Andy was like,
Bloody hell!
remembers Owain. Sean, who was now living in Cambridge, was next up. They lost touch with John years before. He was equally stunned.
I hadn't listened to that album for 20 years.
Sean admits.
But when I heard the tracks again, I was actually pleasantly surprised.
Now that Owain was in direct contact with the searchers, he was able to give them more context on the album. Apparently the CD was a demo EP, which they sent to a few record companies at the time, but it had little success, and Panchiko disbanded not long after, as well as confirming that the distortion on the record wasn't deliberate, and it was indeed caused by disc rot. After the disbanding of Panchiko, each member went their separate ways. Andy stayed in the world of sound, mixing and mastering for various bands, as well as running side music projects. Owain had moved into education after dabbling in live events with the gaming industry. Sean had done a bit of traveling before becoming a tree surgeon. The members of Panchiko realized the scale of their newfound fandom, so they decided to restore the album. There was one problem though. They didn't have any clean versions of it. Only 30 to 40 copies were made and were mostly sent to record labels. The album itself was recorded on an old computer whose drives are long gone, with the burnt CD being the only backup.
Hey, I'm afraid that I'm 90% sure that the masters no longer exist, but I will keep looking and asking around for copies in the hope that a disc appears that hasn't suffered the same fate. I'll also attempt to restore what we have. I have some pretty clever restoration software, and I work as a mastering engineer, so I'll do my very best. Thanks, Andy.
And so, the members of Panchiko started contacting every friend they had sent out the CD to, until Andy found this.
A friend of mine sent me this. I'll try and steal from it soon. Hopefully the audio's okay. This version features some even more terrible Photoshop work. My apologies on behalf of 17-year-old me.
This copy had little to no disc rot, which was enough for Andy to remaster it. He also found their second EP, Kickin' Cars, which was one that no one had heard before, so Andy decided to remaster it as well and include it in the death metal track list. After only 2 weeks, the remastering process was done, and with its release on February 16, 2020, the album Death Metal was finally found and available for everyone to listen to in its final form. Within hours of the album's release, it became one of the best-selling albums on Bandcamp, and just a few weeks after that, it was out on streaming platforms, attracting even newer audiences. And after the success of their first album, the band reformed, and they released their first single in over 20 years, and they also hosted their first live show. Today, Panchiko tours the world and has millions of listeners, all because of a single anonymous post on 4chan. No label, no marketing, no plan, just one person sharing a forgotten CD and the world listening. For the band, it was like uncovering a lost piece of their own past. For the fans, it was a miracle. Music that had vanished for 20 years, finally heard by everyone. And if it wasn't all for that one post from an anonymous user on 4chan, who knows if any of this would have happened. It's a story that proves how even the smallest actions online can change everything. But that was about it. Thank you for watching. If you've made it this far, consider leaving any form of engagement. Maybe watch the videos on your screen right now, and see ya.